Right, it's the Ask Porky. It's the 50 questions thing I've started again, and we've decided to call it, instead of Porky's Blast, because I do a Monday morning blast, don't I? We're going to call the 50 questions from now on Ask Porky. So here we go. What's your opinion on Joshua versus Wilder? That's from Paul in Telford. Now, my opinion on Joshua Wilder is this. It's what I've been saying for over 2 years. They're not going to put Anthony Joshua near Deontay Wilder because he's got weak whiskers. He's got a glass jaw and he could get iced. He could get iced and that could be the end of him. He could be waking up in an hospital bed. And he might not be the same person again. He's there to be iced. It's a very poor era, and I think he gets beat. I think they know that, and they're doing their best to talk the way out of it. So that's my opinion, Paul. So, question 2. Will Chris George beat Josh Kelly in June in Newcastle? That's from Nathan in Leeds. Chris George will get iced by Josh Kelly. They're not going to put Josh Kelly near anybody that's any good. So that's my opinion on that. Question 3. Why are you supporting Liverpool FC in your tweets, Porky? That's from John in Liverpool. Well, that's because I'm a Liverpool fan. I have been since 1976. My mum and dad bought me a scarf for Christmas, me and my brother, and on it were English champions 76-77 season. And I've ended up a Liverpool fan to this day since then. My brother ended up a Man United fan a year later, so I've never spoke to him for years, so that's probably one of the reasons, amongst other things. Question 4. Where do you get your gold from, Porky? Mike in Sheffield. As most people know around here, I used to deal in gold and watches, and I get it from a place in town. I'm not prepared to say where, but there's various gold places in Doncaster, but I get a decent deal from a certain person, and we'll leave it at that, shall we? Probably a better deal than most get, but he's a good kid and I grew up with him, so I can't say where I get my gold from now, but if you mean the chain, it's not for sale. Question 5. What's your opinion on the WBC testing programme, Porky? Rebecca in Bawtry. The WBC testing programme, for example, how can I explain it? Joshua was a WBC fighter, wasn't he? He was ranked number 2, and he, how can I explain it? They brought that new testing programme out where everybody had to register, and all of a sudden Joshua jumped over to IBF, didn't he? But he timed it right, didn't he, when the Charlie Martin offer came up. And also he was going to be mandatory for Wilder, so he got away from the testing, he got away from Wilder, and he got an easy belt versus Charlie Martin. But I think it's a good thing, and my opinion of it is everybody should be tested all year round, whether you've got a fight or not. If you're a professional fighter, you should be tested. Question 6. Do you reckon Khan versus Brook happens? Jay in Lincoln. No, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen at all. I think Amir Khan's going to go his own way. He don't need Kell Brook. Kell Brook needs Khan. Khan's got winnable fights at £147. Who can Kell Brook beat at 154? Would you put Kell Brook with Charlo? Or them other guys at 154, Andrade or Hurd, is it? He gets smashed to pieces. So Khan's got the upper hand. I don't think it's going to happen. Question 7. Why do you block people on Twitter, Porky? As you never used to. Craig in Doncaster. P.S. I'm Dave Allen's mate. So what does that mean? Hey, what's that mean? That I have to read your question out, Craig? I block people, of course. If they want to be dicks on here, I'm going to block them, aren't I? But it takes a lot for me to block them. If I block them, it's because they're talking nonsense and just being trolls. So That's why, Craig. Question 8. Will Carl Froch make a comeback? And if not, what's he do in his spare time now he's not boxing? Robin Leeds. Carl Froch has got... he's not going to make a comeback, and he spends a lot of time at home doing his gardening. He's got a bit of land with his house, and he's got one of them lawnmowers that he's sitting, so I assume he's probably digging his garden or driving about on his lawnmower or sweeping leaves up. Last time I saw him at his house, he was sweeping leaves out at garage because he had a lot of trees there. He was sweeping leaves out at garage onto the drive to put into dustbin, so good luck to him, but not for me. Question 9. Porky, you keep saying that the heavyweight division is the worst it's ever been. Why is this? Liam Rotherham. Well, let's look at the champions, shall we? Deontay Wilder has 2 wins over world champions, former or current. Stavern, he beat him twice. 1 on points, 1 a knockout. The other guy beat Ortiz, he won a world champion. Joshua's beat Charlie Martin, champion. Vladimir, former champion, 41-year-old. And Parker, a champion who'd not beat a champion. And Martin was a champion who'd not beat a champion. So that's shocking. That's the state of the heavyweight division. It's the worst it's ever been if you go on statistics. Everybody knows this, and there's 4 belts or 5. Question from the same guy, number 10. Porky, if you say that the division is poor, are you saying that Pulev, Joyce, Miller and Jennings are all no good? Well, yeah, who have they beat? Pulev, Joyce, Miller and Jennings are all contenders, aren't they? They've not beat a former world champion. They've not done anything. What have they done? Throw Dillian White in mix as well. I mean, he's not in the question, but throw him in mix. Who's he beat? Lucas Big Daddy Brown? Come on. It's the worst era ever. The worst era ever. Anyway, that's the first 10 questions done. There's 40 to do. Right, next 10 questions now. Porky. Question 11. Porky, who do you think is the best 175-pound guy in world boxing? Do you believe Buatsi will beat all the top guys at the moment? John in Hertfordshire. Well, Eddie Hearn says he beats them all, doesn't he? But let's look who the top guys are. Kovalev, Stevenson, Jack, Biville and Beterbiev. Does he beat any of those guys? No. They won't even put him in with Anthony Yard, will they? But will Anthony Yard take the fight? No. So as far as I'm concerned, Buatsi's going to have to sit it out like Yarde's trying to do. Yarde's world number 2, but he's not making any noise about fighting Kovalev, is he? And I can assure you the WBO won't be calling a final eliminator between number 1 and number 2 to fight Kovalev. They do not want Kovalev, Frank Warren's lot. They're going to wait until the belt gets freed up, like they were waiting with Kell Brook for Manny Pacquiao. Any other time they're screaming blue murder, but they know that Yarde's not the finished article, so they're going to keep him. They're trying to keep him bubbling like Dubois. They're trying to play end game. Frank Warren's stable's not strong yet. He's a good few years off being strong. So, but getting back to the question, Buatsi, no, he don't beat any of them guys, but he might in 5 years. Question 12. Which boxing organisation out of the big 5 do you think is the most honest? Michael in Canada. None of them. None of them. I don't rate any of them. They've all got flaws. The WBC we know about. The WBA's a joke. The WBC with the Canelo situation, shocking. The IBF years ago were investigated for corruption. Same people are still working there. The WBO is a Warren boxing organisation, and the IBO don't even call mandatories. So a lot of them shower of shite. Shower of utter fucking shite. Number 13. Who's pound for pound number 1 at the moment? Paul in London. Gennady Golovkin, he's the man. He beat Canelo, he beat everybody else. It's just that he got robbed. Adelaide Bird yet again involved, wasn't she? I believe. One at judges. Let's have a look. Question 14. Porky, what do you think about the current situation regarding Billy Joe Saunders? Dennis in Lincoln. Well, my opinion of Billy Joe Saunders is this. It's simple, really. Who is Billy Joe Saunders fighting? Who? Who's he fighting? He fought that guy, didn't he, in Paisley, Scotland. Everybody said he got beat, but I thought he won by a round. Then he's fought Willie Monroe, shocking. Lemieux, tailor-made for him, but he beat him, so well done. And now he's fighting Martin Murray, but yet he's been calling Canelo and Golovkin out for 3 years. He needs to fight somebody, doesn't he? I think he's waiting for them all to get old, isn't he? Like Frank Warren did with Hopkins and Roy Jones, with Calzaghe. They're playing waiting game, aren't they? So Billy Joe Saunders is making a lot of noise, but not fighting anybody, is he? Who do you rate at Matchroom after the big four of Joshua Bellew, Brook and Khan? That's from Ken in Leeds. Who do I rate? I rate Joshua. I don't rate Bellew. Brook and Khan have just not fought on pay-per-view, have they? They have to be in the right fight for pay-per-view. So does Bellew. But Bellew's had his third Sky pay-per-view after this Saturday, hasn't he? So it's shocking, isn't it? Hayes on his 7th. Joshua's had 7 or 6, hasn't he? They're getting away with murder, but I don't rate anybody at Matchroom, to be honest. None of them. I don't think he's got a good stable. Joshua Bellew, Brook Khan. Joshua's always going to be there. Bellew, Brook and Khan, they're coming to end, aren't they? So no, I don't rate any of others. Why? Maybe Boatse. Why are you critical of Frank Warren's handling of BT Sport deal, Bruce in Sheffield? BT Sport have not come out, have they, and said anything yet, have they, about the big Frank Warren, big BT Sport deal? So you tell me. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's built on a swamp. I do, honestly. If it's not built on a swamp, why did he say he's doing 30 shows a year? Because as soon as he said that, everybody signed with him, didn't they? Now he's got 33 weeks till Christmas, and he's got to do 28 shows in the next 33 weeks. How's he going to do that when we have a break in August? What's he going to do, a show every week till Christmas? Come on! You're talking to Big Porky now. I don't fall for any of that crap. Built on a swamp or built on quicksand. So I don't see him lasting longer in the sport, Frank Warren, to be honest. So I think he's a chancer. Confidence trickster's more the word. What next for Liam Cameron, Porky? Leslie and Rotherham. I'd like to think Tommy Langford or Brian Rose, if they're interested. It's not up to me, it's up to Dennis, innit? Or Mark Efron, but working with Mark Efron, that's an hard fight. Plus it'd mean Dennis dealing with Frank Warren, wouldn't it? So I don't know how they're going to work that. But I'll stay out of that, I'll leave that to Dennis, because sometimes I put my foot in it, don't I? Sometimes you can be honest and try and please people and cause problems in boxing, so I'll leave it to them. Question 18, Porky, will Dillian White win a world title? Wilfred in Lincoln. No, I don't think Dillian White will win a world title. He don't beat Joshua in a rematch, and he don't beat Wilder. He don't beat Ortiz, and I don't think he beats Parker. So no, I don't think he will. He don't beat Tyson Fury either, and I think Bellew beats him as well. So, question 19: is Manny Stewart a great trainer? Marcus in Leeds. He was a great trainer. He's passed away sadly. He was a great trainer. So, and question 20. Porky, do you believe the rumour about Matchroom employing 100 trolls on Twitter and paying them in tickets to shows that they don't sell out, and each troll running 10 accounts, 1 account per hour, per day? So what you're saying then, Karen in Essex, is the rumour is that Matchroom employ 100 trolls, they've all got 10 accounts each, and that'd be 1,000 accounts a day putting fake news out in boxing. Yeah, you could do a lot of damage with that, and I could see that happening. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, I could see Eddie Hearn doing it. He's obsessed by social media and views and all that. All the people he surrounds himself are obsessed by views and that. So yeah, I can see that happening. So yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, I ain't got no time for trolls. So right, that's second lot of questions done. That's 20 done, 30 to go. Right. Question 21. Was Ron Lyle versus George Foreman a good fight, Porky? Jonathan in Bristol. Yeah, I thought it was a good fight. You know, it's got voted, didn't it? A fight at year, Ring Magazine Fight at Year. They knocked lumps at each other, didn't they? They knocked lumps at each other. So, yeah, I thought it was a good fight. And it's one of my Dennis Hobson's late dad, Dennis Hobson Senior. It's his favourite fight, and it's one of Dennis's favourite fights. And Dennis's nickname is Ron Lyle, Dennis Jr., you know, who I work with. I call him Ron Lyle. So, but yeah, it's a great fight. So, well said, Jonathan. Question 22. Why are you called Porky? From Jude, age 14 and a half in Cheshire. Probably because I'm slim. I'm 17 stone, aren't I? Question 23. Is Dave Allen hard? From Jude, age 14 and a half in Cheshire. Well, he must be hard. He's a boxer, so all boxers are hard, aren't they? But yeah, he's tough, Dave. He needs to move his head a bit more from what Peter Fury keeps telling me, but he's a tough guy, a tough kid. He can take a shot. So yeah, I suppose he's hard. Question 24. Who's the best woman boxer you wouldn't fight, Porky? Raymond in Aldershot. There's three probably. Jane Couch, Anne Wolfe, Louise Riker, all them three. You don't want to mess with them three, would you? Down a dark alley or any of them three. You know, maybe I could grab them and jump on floor with them, but jump on floor with them. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Me and Jane Couch rolling about on floor. She'd need me in knackers, wouldn't she? But yeah, so. But yeah, all tough and all former world champions. Question 25. Do you think IFL TV are any good? That's from Jimmy in Braithwell. And there's another question to this as well. Yeah, I think they're very good. I think they've done well for boxing. I think they're good at the job. And do you think they ask the right questions to the powers that be? No, I don't think they ask the right questions. I think if they try to ask a question and it looks a bit of an uncomfortable in the interview, they sort of like joke around it and make out that it's banter, and they turn it into like a question that leads off into something else. So, and I think that's probably because they depend on these people for their income, don't they? You know, like their views. If Joshua says he don't want to speak to them, it's going to have a knock-on effect in it. So they have to keep him happy. And people in boxing, they get involved in it, and the media people, they ask the right questions, but even their hands are tied. It's left to the people on YouTube and that to ask the right questions, the podcast people. But Coogan and James daren't ask the right questions. They don't push Frank Warren about the BT Sport deal, and they don't push the stub-up enough for me with Eddie Hearn or the pay-per-view getting put up £3 or other things that Matchroom do that we don't agree with. They don't push that. They are company men. So, and if they've got a problem with that, I'll tell them to the face, the company men. But when they see me, they don't say anything. They like crawl off. So I saw Coogan up at Sheffield United ground where there was a show, and he never said anything. So I haven't got a problem with him. Elder, he thinks he's got a problem with me, but he never seems to say anything. So he might tiptoe around it, because they don't want to upset anybody in boxing, do they? But they don't do any small hole shows, do they? I remember when Dennis used to pay him £500 and put him in hotels when he were doing world title fights. And now they don't come anywhere near Dennis's shows, do they? Because they're not going to get views at our shows with our fighters like Liam Cameron, are they? Liam has just defended his Commonwealth belt at weekend. They haven't sent anybody near him, have they? Why is that? Why don't they send anybody to our show? Is it because Dennis has got to deal with Free Sports TV and their Irish media? I don't know, but they just don't come to our shows. So they're company men, they'll do what's best for their company, won't they? And that's it. They're not bothered about boxing, they're in it for money. They'll tell you that they're in it for boxing, they love the game and all that. If you love boxing, you do it for free, and do it to make friends like me and Peter Fury. But I suppose we're fortunate, aren't we? Not everybody's fortunate. You know, only thing I've had out of boxing is free hoodies and stuff like that off my sponsors, K Official, and a few free tailor-made shirts from another sponsor, Churchill Tailors in Doncaster. So, but I'm fortunate in that I don't need to do it for money. But not everybody's like that, are they? Not everybody's big-hearted like me. So you've got to be careful what you do in boxing and who you talk to. But they are company men, and no, they don't ask the right questions, but they are good at the job. Coogan's very good. He's better than James, in my opinion. Anyway, he's very, very polished, and I think he'll do well. Question 26. Frank Warren. Is Frank Warren right to explain? Is Frank Warren right to complain about Sky, the Sun newspaper, and Talksport all being owned by Murdoch? Roger in Berkshire. Yeah, he can complain about it, and I feel for him a little bit. But when Frank had a Sky deal, and he ran a column in newspaper, and he ran Talksport all the time, Frank wasn't really bothered about all other promotions, was he? He's only bitching and complaining about it now because he's not the #1 guy, is he? He's down to #2, and to be honest with you, you'd have to really question if he is #2, wouldn't you? His stable suggests he could maybe have the best stable, but is he getting the best out of him? Has he got the best platform? And are BT Sport really getting behind him? I mean, 30 shows a year, and he's done 2 this year. Are they really getting behind him? I sometimes wonder. So, is he getting the best out of his stable? No. Is the platform good? Well, I don't think it's not showing it so far, is it? So, no. Question 27. Is Michelle Joy Phelps going to interview anyone at a small hall show, or is she just going to do big shows? Maxine in Old Hilly Edge. That's more or less the same sort of thing with Coogan and them. They're just going to go where views are, aren't they? These people's lives depend on views, doesn't it? And what the sponsorship deals they've got. They're after views. It's as simple as that. They're not bothered about small hall shows. Michelle Joy Phelps, she wouldn't know how to spell York Hall, would she? Or Doncaster Gnome, or Magna at Rotherham, or Ponsford at Sheffield, or Sheffield Ice Ring, or Barnsley Metrodome. You know, or Bowlers at Manchester. Is she going to go to any of these places? I very much doubt it. If somebody can find where she's been to any of these shows, please text me, because I've not seen her. She's only interested in the big shows. That's as far as I'm concerned. But good luck to her. She looks the part, doesn't she? She says all right things, but she's not going to ask the proper questions, is she? So, question 28. Who's best lightweight of all time? Mike in Liverpool. Roberto Duran, without a shadow of a doubt. Question 29. Why do you wear Lacoste t-shirts all the time, Porky? Ron in Chorley. That's where Ozzy's from, Chorley. I got some sent in post. I got 1, and then I got 3 dropped off by this lad who used to work for Elise. Just a rep. He came around and gave me them, and I think he just wanted to be in my company and talk boxing, and he said, I'll give you these if you give him a mention on that. So I'm not going to knock him back, am I? They were 75 quid a t-shirt, so 4 t-shirts, what's that, 300 quid? And he gave me a load of Elise stuff, he gave me a coat, and he gave me a pair of trainers, Elise trainers for Dennis. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, you were all right, and it's nice to get stuff like that. And, you know, I've not really had anything else out boxing, and so it's nice, isn't it? But I don't do it for stuff like that. And he came round with some stuff over there, and I said I didn't really want it, and he took it back. They were I think it were cardies and shirts. Wrong weather for cardies anyway, innit? But I don't think they'd have fit. Question 30. Who do you respect most in boxing, Porky? Desi in Thorn. I respect people the most in boxing who don't take anything out of it. You'd have to put all them lads who do the podcasts at the top. I mean, nearly all of them have got jobs, haven't they? And they're all bright kids, and they're all their opinions I value. So you'd have to say all them lads, wouldn't you, that I respect. yeah, that's what I respect. So, but other than that, I don't really respect many people in boxing. The list is few and far between who I respect. I have got some friends in boxing, and I'm not gonna mention them here. They know, my friends know they are. I WhatsApp them every day. But there's not really that many people I respect in boxing, because everybody's got an angle. There's always an angle, and it's usually money motivated. Even boxers as well, they all have their angle. A lot of boxers, they'll bitch and complain and go on about this and that, but yeah, they won't tell the powers that be. The reason being is because they want to work with them down the line. So as far as I'm concerned, a lot of boxers, they need to start sticking up for themselves. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? We can all go around complaining and that, but majority of boxers are alright, who I've been involved with. But you know, you do see a lot on here complaining on Twitter and stuff like that. As far as I'm concerned, you need to go and tell your promoters and stuff like that if you're not happy with stuff. I know that may sound harsh because I don't fight, do I? But you know, if you're not getting a good deal, leave, move on. So that's as far as I'm concerned. If you're unhappy, move on. I have fallout with Dennis Hobson every month. We fall out over something boxing related, and I'll say my bit, he'll say his bit, and I'll just blank him. I won't speak to him if I'm unhappy with something. But for the simple reason that Dennis don't pay me any money, so why do I need to be spoke to like I'm an employee? I'm not an employee of Dennis Hobson's. I work with him. Yeah, I can go in his office and I've got access to everything, and there's access to all sorts, and I can basically have what I want, go where I want. You know, he's put me on aeroplanes, boats, I've driven cars of his nice cars, been everywhere. He's looked after me, but he doesn't own me. I'm my own person, and I will always be my own person. I won't let anybody dictate to me. Nobody will ever dictate to me. I'm my own man, and I think that's important to me, to be my own person. You live by your own rules and die by your own rules, I suppose, don't you? So, question 31. Right, we'll just turn that off now, change the picture. I'm sick of looking at Barry Hearn. Question 31. Where do you see Bivell's career going with Eddie Hearn? Brian in Newcastle. Well, I don't see them putting him in with any of the big five. You know, the big five at 175, Beterbiev, Kovalev, Badu Jack, Stevenson. I don't see, or the big four. I don't see him putting him in with any of those guys. But we're going to see, aren't we? We're going to see. But why he keeps signing these foreign guys, I don't know. It's shocking. Question 32. Is Kell Brook going to fight any of the 154-pound champs? As if not, his career is in limbo. Carl in Winterbank. I don't think Kell Brook's going to go anywhere near any of those guys at 154. He will get iced. He'll get his face punched in. So no, I don't think so, no. Question 33. Porky, do you think a lot of people in boxing don't say what they really think because they want to work with certain people? John in Leicester. I've just been talking about that. Yeah, I agree. Nobody wants to rock the boat, do they? Cowards, off with their heads, as Tony Bellew would say. Question 39. Porky, can you please explain to us how Johnny Nelson is still in a job at Sky? Do you believe he has Polaroids of Adam Smith hanging out the back of a goat like was mentioned on Ultratech Sports Raw YouTube? Imelda in Islington. I don't think Adam's probably been caught doing that by Johnny Nelson, and I don't know really. I mean, it is a bit cringeworthy. Johnny Nelson's tweets and blogs, what he puts on the Sky website, and what he says in his public are cringeworthy sentences and remarks. Very, very cringeworthy. They're not manly, and he should be embarrassed. But then again, you'd have to say that all those boys are like that. Spencer Fearon, he's very cringeworthy, but he's got nothing in his life, has he, without his Sky job. Macklin's got a few quid, hasn't he, but he's turning into a company man, isn't he? And he says everything's Sky related, doesn't he? He's another one of those guys, isn't he, that just agrees with everything that Sky's saying. the scorecards are shocking. And I think they do that to everybody, don't they, Sky? And I think that something needs to be done about it. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's just plain old shocking. Plain old shocking. It's just my opinion. I just think that people need to have an opinion and be themselves. Just say the truth. Just say what's really going on. Don't be embarrassed about. How can I explain it? It's embarrassing what they're saying here. All that Sky lot, shocking. Spencer Fearon's cringeworthy. Andy Scott's cringeworthy. Adam Smith's the biggest cringe, and Johnny Nelson. Who's at Sky who isn't cringeworthy? Tell me. Frotcher's maybe only one in here who's not cringeworthy. Do you know what I mean? He's probably the only one. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's the only one. Question 40. Can you explain, Porky, why Eddie Hearn did 38 interviews in New York in 4 hours worth of media a weekend? Tico Ariola, Brooklyn, New York. It was me who saw the tweet that you put out, Tico. And then I counted them, and I counted 38, but apparently there's 40 altogether. And it's question 40, so isn't that good? Eddie has had to put a smoke screen up against this Wilder thing. Sky and Joshua have stuck him out there on front line in New York over a weekend, and he has battered the media left, right and centre. I heard he got back to his hotel and collapsed. He was sweating as like sweating cobs. So I can see why he's done it. He's got to protect his client Joshua, but yeah, proper embarrassing. Proper embarrassing. Question 41. Should Spencer Fearon be sacked on Sky Sports or demoted to janitor? Jamie in Glasgow. I don't think any man should be sacked for his opinion, but Spencer Fearon is not giving a good opinion of himself because he's been around boxing all his life, Spencer. So, as far as I'm concerned, he needs to have a proper opinion. I've missed these questions out here, 34 to 38, so we'll do these and we'll go to 42. How embarrassing. Question 34. Porky, will there ever be a division between £175 and £200? Stephen from Micklebring. I met you at the Cameron Sheedy fight, mate. Don't remember you, but thanks for bringing it up. I'd like to think there'd be a division between light heavyweight at £175 and £200. Because if you're weighing in about 185, you're gonna get down to 175, aren't you? But as far as I'm concerned, some guys are coming down from £200 to 175, aren't they? Bellew were coming down from 210. He were knocking £35 off. Then you've got guys who are weighing in, who knock about at 198. They're going to have advantage of the guys who walk around at 180, aren't they? So yeah, I mean in lower divisions, sometimes you can go from one division to other, £3 difference. So why should we have a £25 gap? So yeah, I think there should be like a light cruiserweight or a super light heavyweight. You know what I mean? A super light heavyweight at 182 and a light cruiser at 192. Why not? And then £200 cruiser. Why not? Maybe a super cruiser at 210 and then heavyweights from 210 upwards, because people are getting bigger, aren't they? When Ali won title, they were £200, wasn't he? Tyson Fury weighing in at 250 odd, isn't he? So maybe that needs looking at. From 175 to 200 and maybe above. Question 35. Which is best podcast, Porky? Lyndon in Warmsworth. I think they're all good. I think best one later though, I think has been the one the other night were good. What are they called? Wait, last night. The New Age Podfather. I think that was brilliant the other night. That's the best one that you've ever done. And I think Steve Wellings' lot and the Nut House Boxing Asylum, they've upped their game. And you know, I like Boxing Coalition. I like Craig Fight Talk. There's a few I like, but the main two that I like are New Age Podfather and Boxing Asylum, or Nut House Podcast, is it? And I like Boxing Coalition as well when they have it. They don't have it as much now, do they? I like the Brian King one as well ages ago, but he had no staying power, did he, Brian? So I think boxing got Brian frustrated. He's an angry little man, Brian, isn't he, at times? So, but I liked his podcast when he did it, but he didn't stop at it, he didn't stick at it. But who wins, Porky? Bellew or Hay rematch? Terry Anna in East Dean, Rotherham. I think Hay wins by knockout. So. But could he be conning us again? You never know, do you? I mean, how has David A got yet another pay-per-view fight? I mean, he messed Sky about with the 2 pull-outs with Tyson Fury. That's following on from Toegate. He messed him about with two more after Toegate. And in between the Chisora one, that was a Frank Warren one, wasn't it? David A has had about 7 or 8 pay-per-views. It's shocking, isn't it? He's had mega dough. And, you know, he's had them 2 bum fights on Dave Channel, and now he's had 2 versus Bellew pay-per-view. People keep falling for it, don't they? And while ever Sky are going to keep giving him a platform, he's going to keep laughing in fans' faces, isn't he, David A? Does David A give a shit about the fans? No. Does Eddie Hearn give a shit about the fans? No. Does Frank Warren give a shit about the fans? No. Does Adam Smith give a shit about the fans? No. And they all live in big mansions. Well, work it out for yourself. Who's the next big star in boxing at UK, Russ, after Joshua? Trevor in Old Coats. I don't know, to be honest, mate. I don't know. It could be anybody, couldn't it? Could be anybody. Question 38. Can Dennis Hobson fight, Porky? And is he hard, as I've seen him on your Twitter at Big Vern 44? On the video part. Paul in Peterborough. Yeah, Dennis can fight. Yeah, he can fight. And he has had fights as well, and he can bang people out. So yeah, if you get on wrong side of Dennis, as Eddie Hearn found out at the IBF convention about 5 years ago, if you get on the wrong side of Dennis, he will put it on your toes. And as we all know, Eddie Hearn shited his pants at the IBF convention. So yeah, Dennis can fight, I can assure you. Don't be fooled, because he's 56-year-old, he can fight. Question 42. Why has Billy Joe Saunders been calling out Triple G last 3 years when all he's fought is that guy in Paisley? He's fought the guy in Paisley, Willie Monroe, David Lemieux and Martin Murray next. His career's in freefall. It's typical WBO rubbish, clearing knots. Spoke about that on another video. Yeah, I suppose it is, but I suppose they're waiting for Golovkin to get old in here, I suppose, but the division's poor in it at middleweight. It's like it's poor at heavyweight as well, so that's just my opinion. So he's good enough to beat Golovkin, but he's not getting the fights, Billy Joe, is he? So I think Frank Warren's trying to keep him earning and getting some off him, because maybe he might think it's a risk putting him in with Triple G. What do you think to Danny Jacobs' fight at weekend, Russ? Tony and Edlington. I thought it was utter shite. I thought it was utter shite. So, have the WBC stitched up Dillian White, Porky, Jason in Thorne? Yeah, I think they have stitched him up, but so what? He's not paying my rent, is he, Dillian White? Yeah, they have stitched him up. He should be fighting Wilder next, but he ain't, is he? So the WBC have turned on Eddie Hearn, haven't they? So, but he's had it coming, hasn't he? He's upset a lot of people, Eddie Hearn, hasn't he? And he's going to continue to upset people. He's acting a part out, isn't he? But will he go too far in acting a part out? We never know. We're going to find out, aren't we? What next for Amir Khan, Porky? Mukhtar in Bradford. Well, it won't be Kell Brook, put it that way. So I don't know what's next for Amir Khan, but I don't know. But I wish him well. Question 46. Can Dave Allen do a £200? Paul in Sheffield. I don't know, can he do £300? No, I don't think Dave can do cruiserweight, no chance. Question 47. Has Eddie Hearn gone into bat for Dave Allen with the Commonwealth fight against Lenroy Thomas and Kell Brook with the Khan fight? Robert in Manchester. Eddie Hearn said he was going to get the Dave Allen trilogy versus Lenroy Thomas, but he didn't, did he? And Lenroy Thomas fights Joe Joyce this Saturday, and Dave fights against David Howe on Friday in Warsaw on a ticket deal. So that's where Dave Allen's at. So Eddie Hearn's not gone into bat for him, has he? No. Has he gone into bat for Kell Brook with Khan fight? No, I don't think he has. I think he should have told Khan he's £150 and you're fighting him at it, and Khan hasn't. So, but Khan's got to deal with Eddie and Eddie's got to deliver now. So has Khan pulled a fast one with Eddie Hearn? You don't know, but you'd say that Brooks is favourite over Khan, wouldn't you? So, but like I said, they're not paying my bills. Question 48. Why don't you take a wage out boxing, Porky? Are you mad or just a stupid fat fanboy? Jeff in Barry-Kinelmet. Well, I'm fat, and I suppose I could do it losing about 5 stone. So you're right on that. Am I a fanboy? Yeah, I'm a fan of boxing. So that's 2 things you got right. Why not I take a wage out boxing? I don't need to. If I did, I would register for views, but I don't. And am I stupid? I've got an IQ of 155, and I'd like to think that after spending 10 years in prison, I've made a success of my life. So Jeff in Barry-Kinelmet, all the best to you, Jeff, as well. Let's move on from Jeff in Barry-Kinelmet. He's just had his 60 seconds. Question 49. What's it like working with Peter Fury, Porky? John in Sunderland, brilliant. I respect him. We're from the same cloth. We've got very similar backgrounds, and I respect him and I trust him and he trusts me. So we've spent a lot of time together in the last few months, and I've known him a few years now. So you don't get to spend time with Peter Fury straight away. He likes to know you at first, and I've got his back and he's got mine. That's all I want to say. So yeah, I like him a lot. So it's great working with him. Question 50, the last one. Who's best female boxer at the moment? Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, Katie Taylor or Stacey Copeland? You'd have to say Clarissa Shields, wouldn't you? But Savannah Marshall's coming for her. She beat her at World Amateurs, and I'd text Savannah to beat her again. But at the moment, Clarissa Shields is the best woman boxer in the world. That's from George in Glossop. But like I said, Savannah beat her, didn't she, in past? So that's it for that. Right, I'm just getting another picture up. Right, which brings me to the Liam Cameron situation at the moment. Liam's just knocked out Nicky Gemman in second round at weekend, and as far as I'm concerned, he's ready for to fight Tommy Langford. He's ready now. He's already knocked Langford out in amateurs, knocked him out. Langford don't want to fight him. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Liam needs to be fighting Langford next, or going for a European title against that Polish guy, is it? But it's up to Dennis, innit? I can't tell Dennis what to do. They're gonna do what they think's best, aren't they? But I'd like to see Liam kick on now and do something in the sport and get a few quid. It's Liam's been offered to fight Reece Cartwright on Hughie Fury's undercard on 12th of May, but obviously he's been partying at weekend and he's put a bit of weight on, and he's going to get all muddled up mentally, you know. So Liam's going to have to wait for his chance, but he's got a belt now, hasn't it? Commonwealth title, and you know, other offers, I dare say, are going to come in now, aren't they, for him? So it's up to him, innit? But he's going to be doing well soon, and he's a good fighter, Liam. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You know, he's ranked high in Britain, and Langford, he beats Langford, so that's British and Commonwealth in bag. And I'd have him down to beat that Polish guy for Europeans who's got the clean sweep then, hasn't he? It's just a case of waiting for a title shot, innit, then? Do you know what I mean? He's making himself noticed. He's had nothing give him, a bit like Josh Whale. He has had nothing give him whatsoever, Josh Whale. And Liam Cameron and Liam and his trainer, Chris Smedley, I'm sure they're going to plot a path with Dennis as their manager, and you know, they're going to be looking to get out on a big show next, I suppose, on one of Dennis's shows, and or maybe fight as an away fighter. I don't know how they're going to work it, but it's Dennis's manager. He'll have to sit down with Chris Smedley and Liam, and they're going to have to plot a route, aren't they? You know, they might ask me to come up with some available lists. I don't know what's going to happen. I spoke to Dennis and Liam today. It's something they're all going to have to work out for December. It's quite exciting for Liam now. He's arrived on the scene now. He's Commonwealth champion. He's defended belt, and you know he's in mix now, isn't he? You know, it's all happening for him. So I'm pleased for him. I really am pleased for him, and I see him doing really well. I see him doing really well, so good luck to him. So, but he's a nice kid. His Mrs. Tanya and him, they've got a good, nice little family there. He's got a daughter, and you know, everything's going well for him, so I hope he gets the fights that he needs and gets a few quid out of the job, because he's put his time in, hasn't he? So alright, well anyway, it's been nice doing these videos, and I think this is how I'm going to do it from now on. It saves me having to stick my mug in front of the camera all the time. Alright, you take care, all the best.